Hi guys, today we'll be looking into Drupal panels. Panels allow us to create custom layouts for our Drupal websites. We can have multiple layouts for a single web page, and we can control when a layout has to apply for a Drupal web page. We can set certain conditions, and we can tell Drupal only when these conditions are met does a layout need to apply. Also, in addition to this, we can also control the content that we apply or the content that we assign within the layout. Again, we can set rules and conditions and tell Drupal that only when these conditions are met are we to allow the content within the layout be displayed. Traditionally, one of the ways we do this is when we have to create a layout that's really complex, we'd have to find a theme that has the layout, or we'd have to modify the theme that is already set. But we can avoid all this customization by using the panels module. Also, another thing to note is that the panels module works with the content region of the theme. So no matter how complex the layout that you choose, it's not going to affect the way the theme works. It's not going to break the theme structure. So let's go ahead and see how we can create a web page using the panels module. Now for this we need the panels module, and panels work with the CTools module. So you got to make sure you have both CTools and panels enabled. So let me show you my modules page, and I have CTools here. So what you need to enable is CTools and another tool called the page manager tool. This is very important because panels uses the page manager to work with the content region. You don't need to enable the other options, the other tools. I've just gone ahead and checked them for some other reason. Also under panels, all you need to enable is the panels and panels in place editor. I'll be talking about what the in place editor will do while working with panels. So once you have panels enabled, under structure you should be able to see panels, and if you click on it you'll come to the panels administration screen. Now you can do a lot of things here. You can, like I said, you can create a custom layout, you can work with node templates, but right now let's create a simple panel page or a web page using panels. So click on panel page, and in the next screen we can go ahead and give it a name. I'll give this example. I'll give it a description and also a path. Now what a path does is we are applying the page to this path. So when we navigate to our website /example, the web page that we're going to create is going to appear. Now below that we have a button here, a checkbox which says make this your home page. This is not going to be my home page, but if you are creating the panel for your home page, then you can go ahead and check this. I'm not going to do that. And there are a few options here. We don't need to work with it right now. I'll explain what it does later. Click on continue. On this screen we get to choose the layout. We have 1 column layout, 2 columns layout, and even 3 column layout. I'll choose a 2 column layout, and I'll choose a simple one. We get multiple options, but I'm going to choose this one for the example. Click on continue. On this screen we have an option here which says disable Drupal blocks and regions. What this does is the additional regions we have around the content region can be disabled. So I'll check this, and here we have the option to add additional classes. We don't need to do this. I'm going to leave it blank. I don't need any CSS code running. Another very important thing is the renderer. Remember I was talking about the in-place editor? Just check this and I'll tell you how it works. Click on continue. So this is the page where we get the template. We chose a 2 column layout, so we see a left side and a right side. The first thing we can do is we can choose to have a title for this page. I don't want any title, so I'm going to choose no title. And what we need to do now is we need to start adding content. For a single panel pane or a side or a section of the layout, I can add multiple content. To do this, I need to click on the settings button, click on add content, and here in this window, panels organizes all the content available within Drupal in activity, custom blocks, menus, miscellaneous, page elements, existing node, and widgets. Now I click on custom blocks, and what we find under custom blocks is if we create any block using the block API from the interface itself, from the Drupal instance, it will be available here. So I had created 2 blocks. I'll select this one. In the next screen we get a simple setting screen. It's giving us the option if you want to override the title. I don't want to do any of that. Actually it's checked, so it's gonna take block 1. We can choose a highlight size, let it remain H2. I'll click finish. So as you can see here, the content has been placed to the left side. I'll do the same on the right. I'll click on add content. This time I'm going to click on miscellaneous, and what miscellaneous shows are if I create any blocks from a custom module, or if I create any content from a custom module, they are mapped to or mapped under miscellaneous. So let me just choose one of these blocks. I'll choose block 1. We get the same settings. I don't want to override no title. I'm going to hit finish. So there we go. We have one content assigned to each of these sections. These are called panel panes. Now I can drag and drop these panes left to right. I'm sorry, right to left, left to right. And if I want, I can add additional contents as well. So once we're done with this, we can hit finish, and it will take us to a summary page. Now we have a lot of options here, selection rules, context, variants. I will tell you what it does. Now let's just update and save it, and I will show you how the web page appears. It's saved, and to view the web page, let's navigate to the web page that we created called example, and there we go. We have created a simple panel page for the path example. We have 2 columns, one on the left, one on the right, and the in-place editor is what we see here in this bottom region in black. And what it does is it gives us the ability to modify this page right here. So if I click on customize this page, I can go ahead and delete a block, or even drag and drop it. I can put it from, I can place both the contents on one side, or I can change its positions. So all the customization and all the modifications can be done from the screen itself. So I'll hit save, and you can see that the web page is now changed. So there you go guys. This is the easiest way to create a web page with any layout that you want. And as I told you, we disabled all the blocks and regions, so we don't see any blocks on the left or the right side. So this was a simple page. Let me show you what other fancy things we can do using panels. Now I did tell you that we could have multiple displays for a single web page. Now what happens is when we create a panel page, it's going to create a variant. It's going to create a default variant. As you can see here, you can see panels. So this is the default variant that's created. Let me go ahead and just change the name. So if I click on general, I can change the name of this variant, and I'll call this example 1, and I'll hit on save, update and save. So you can see that this variant is now called example 1. Now what I'll do is I'll click on add variant here. So when I do this, what I'm telling Drupal is I'm going to have an additional display for the same path example. Let me give this a name. I'll call this example 2, and it's going to be a panel. I'm not going to add any of this. Let me go ahead and add this. Now what selection rules does is I am telling Drupal that I'm going to set a few rules, and when these rules are met is only when that layout needs to be used. So let me create this variant, and I'll show you how selection rules work. So since we chose selection rules, we've come to the screen. What we got to do is we got to choose a rule we want to set. So I'm going to choose role and I'm going to click add. Now it's going to ask me what role you want to add. So I'm going to say editor 1 or editor 2. I'll just choose editor 2 and click on save. So this rule, user role, is added for the role editor 2. Now I can have multiple rules set here. Right now I'll just keep one rule, and like I said, you can go ahead and choose to pass this variant when one of the rules are met, or pass this variant when all the rules are met. It's not going to make a difference now. I'll just hit continue. Now just the way we created the default panel layout, we can choose a layout for this variant as well. Now for the previous one we chose a 2-column layout, and for this I'm going to choose a 3-column layout. I'll use a simple 3-column layout. I'm going to choose this one and hit continue. Now in the next screen we get the same setting screen. I don't want any regions to the left or the right. I'm going to disable them. I don't want any classes, additional CSS classes, and I need the in-place editor. I'll do that and hit continue. So just like before, I have a simple wireframe here, but this time I have 3 columns. Just like before, I don't want a title for this page, and what I'll start doing is I'll start adding content here. So I will add a block to the left side. Let me add one of these blocks and hit finish. I don't want to override the title. It's already overwritten, I'm sorry. I will add a widget, or let me add a node. We can, if we have node, any content already created, we can add them as well. We have an autocomplete field here. We can either type in the NID, or we can just start typing and the autocomplete will fill in. I'll just start searching for our, there we go, we have something set as article. I'll choose article 1. There are other options here. Again, you can choose to override the title or link the load title to the node. We don't want to do any of that. One of the important things is the build mode. We can choose to display the entire node or just the teaser. So I'll just keep it as a teaser and hit finish. And for the middle section, I'll add a content. I will add who's online block, and I don't want to make any changes here. There we go. So once I click create variant, here you'll see that another variant called example2, there we go, example2 is created for the same web page example. But example2 will only appear if the selection rule editor2, the selection rule of a user having editor2 is online. Now what I'll do is, for the first variant, let me add a selection rule. I'll add the same rule as user role, but for this variant I will choose editor 1 and click save. So what I've done now is I'm going to apply a completely different layout for the same example web page based on the roles. So let me open a new window and show you how it works. Just to be sure, I'll click on update and save. So let me open a new window and access my Drupal website. Localhost, Drupal tutor. Let me log in. Let me log in as editor 1. I've logged in as the user having the role editor 1, and I'm going to navigate to the page example. I should see a 2-column layout. There we go. I have 2-column layout. Now let me log out, and this time let me log in as editor 2, and this time we should see a page which has a 3-column layout. Let me navigate to example. There we go. We have a 3-column layout. On the right side I have the teaser of an article that I created. On the left side I have one of the blocks that was created, and right in the middle I have the Who's Online block provided by Drupal. So there you go, guys. You have the flexibility that the panels gives you is really it comes in very handy. You can choose multiple layouts for a single web page, and you can control how individual contents can be displayed. Now let me show you how that works. So we work with variants. Now what we're doing with variants is we are providing certain rules saying that for a web page we want different layouts to appear. Now another thing I'd like to talk about is, let me move to content. Now under content we had two blocks, block 1 and my custom block 1. Now this variant example 1 works when we have a user having the role editor 1. Now but we have no control over these blocks which are set within the layout, but we can set certain rules to individual blocks and contents within the layout as well. So if we click on this cogwheel on the right side of an individual pane, we get additional settings. Now if I click on settings, we get the usual settings page where we can choose to override the title or not. But what I'm really interested with is the visibility rules. So here I can choose to display this block or not, again based on certain rules. Now let me click on add new rule, and this time let me choose user permission and click next. Now I will choose something with panels itself. I will see what permission I can apply. I will choose a permission that I was given to only the role editor 1, and that is create panel nodes. So I'll choose this and click on save. So what I'm telling Drupal is that if editor 1, the user editor 1 logs in, he will get to see the content of the web page using this panel layout. But if he does not have the permission to create a panel node, he will not be able to see this block. Right now I've given him that permission, so he will be able to see the permissions. So let me go to people and permissions and search for panels. There we go, create panel nodes. So I will uncheck this and click on save. So now the user editor 1 will see the layout having two sections, left and right, but he will not be able to see the left side block. So let me open the other window and let me log out. This was the editor 2. So let me log out and let me log in with the user editor 1, and we should not be able to see the left side block when he navigates to the example page. Example. There we go. We have the section, we have two sections, but we have no content on the left side because we gave this content a rule stating that this user had to have the permission to create a panel node. So there we go, guys. We now learned how we can create multiple variants for a single web page, also how we can control the contents within the layout as well. So let's go ahead and see what are the other features or tools that are available with the panels module. So let me open the panels page. Again, there we have the two variants, example 1 and example 2. We work with selection rules, context, also layout. Now another very important thing I'd like to talk about under layouts is we have about column 1, column 2 and 3 column layouts here. There's something called builders, and what builders allow us to do is it allows us to create custom, and a few other options that we have here is we can use a clone. Now what a clone is, if I have a variant, if I've selected example 1 variant, and if I click on clone, I can create an exact duplicate of example 1 variant, and then I can always go ahead and make the necessary changes in that variant. Otherwise both the variants would be the same. Few other things that we can do that panels allow us to do is if we go to panels, now apart from creating custom layouts, we can also modify some of the default layouts provided by Drupal. Like for instance, if we have a node, if we have a content, Drupal has defined a structure in which way the node has to be set, or the node has to be displayed. We can enable these templates. Now what all of these are disabled because it's using the Drupal's default display. Now if I click on enable, I can start working with the layout designated for the node. And just the same way we work with creating a custom page, we can start working with this. By default, there's not going to be any variant. We need to click on add a variant, and we can start working with it. We can start giving it a name for that variant. We can start providing it selection rules, and the same thing applies. We can start choosing a layout for it. There'll be a few additional contents that will be available because Drupal knows it's working with Node. It's going to give you Node tokens, few other Node related contents and fields. So we can start working with the templates of nodes. We can also work with comments. We can work with users, and there we go. So this is it, guys. This is what Panels module help us with. We learned how we can create a simple panel page, a web page using panels. We learned how we can have multiple variants for a single web page and set rules for them, so we can control when a layout needs to be applied. We also learned how we can control individual content or contents and blocks within the panel layouts. Also we learned how we can clone, create custom layouts. I haven't gone into how we can create custom layouts. I think I'll make another video for it. Also, if you guys want to know about mini panels, I haven't covered mini panels. You can go ahead and search for mini panels. I will be making a video about mini panels and modifying all these other templates and also creating custom layout. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I hope it helped you, and if you like the video, do go ahead and hit like. You can subscribe. I'll be making more videos under Drupal tutorials, and see you in the next video.